Hello and welcome into this week's edition of Intercollegiate Conversations, as we're pleased to be joined today by Cody Hendrickson, who is the Assistant Athletic Director for Innovation and Strategy at the University of Arizona. Cody, appreciate the time. Let's jump in right there with that title. We have not spoken to somebody yet. We've talked to a lot of people in college athletics, but nobody with that sort of title or in that category of the athletic department. So first off, just help educate me. I mean, what's the day-to-day like? What are some of the things that you're involved with or in charge of there with Arizona?
Yeah, so really the title is I use it as a Swiss Army knife. Like every day is different. No 2 days are ever the same. And for the most part, I'm working in our human resources space and some hiring and some onboarding for employees and making them feel welcome at the University of Arizona, but also involved in the professional development space. So what are we doing to educate and train our coaches, our staff members, and really creating that connectivity amongst our staff at the University of Arizona. So just trying to build those relationships, create that connectivity to build great teams, build great leaders, and then at the end, obviously winning championships and provide our student athletes an opportunity to be their best as well when our staff and our coaches are at their best. So that's a quick overview. Also touch on some data analytic and forecasting pieces of obviously we were going through this transformational time in college athletics with house settlement and all of that. So really just looking at our data analytics, trying to make some data-driven decisions, whether that's in the hiring space and where we are allocating some of our resources, or is it benchmarking kind of where we stand across not only the Big 12 but nationally in a lot of what we do. So, like I said, I categorize it as a Swiss Army knife kind of role. You need me to help in marketing one day, I'll be there. You need me in tickets one day, I'll be there. But no 2 days are ever the same, and that's why I love what I do.
Yeah, that's interesting. And I'll ask you some follow-ups to what you just said there. But first, let me go back to the beginning. I mean, tell me, how did you first get started working in college athletics?
Yeah, so went to undergrad at Bemidji State, small Division II school in northern Minnesota. Go Beavs! That's where I really got involved and had some great mentors in Tracy Dill, who was our athletic director at the time, and then went on to be commissioner of the WCHA, and then head baseball coach Tim Ballou. Just gave me great opportunities to get involved in every space of the Division II athletic scene, whether that was events and operations, communications, you name it, marketing. I was involved, and that kind of propelled me to want to continue in college athletics. So I graduated from Bemidji State with a degree in sport management. Lucky enough to get a graduate assistantship at the University of Missouri and started in spring of 2017. There I was involved in the student services side, so I was working student athlete academic services, mentoring, tutoring, course schedules, all of those things on the academic side of the house. Well, I got my master's degree at the University of Missouri, and then continued, had the chance to stay after my graduate assistantship, became a full-time academic coordinator there, worked for football, softball, and soccer specifically for a little over 2.5 years, and then transitioned into the student athlete development space. So really the holistic development of student athletes and the student services side, working some special projects on the side as well. It kind of gave me the opportunity to grow into an assistant athletic director of student athlete leadership space, where I really oversaw our student athlete advisory committee, our leadership development of student athletes, and then also led our mental performance unit. So oversaw our sports psych unit at the University of Missouri, and then got the opportunity in July, August of this past year. Got a call from some colleagues that had come down to Arizona, that wanted to know if I wanted to step more into the admin side, and in the internal side, and took a jump at the opportunity. It was an opportunity to learn, grow, kind of involve myself in a few different ways while also using some of my historical background in leadership development and professional development to translate that not only on the student athlete side, but our staff side as well. So, been here at the University of Arizona since August of 2024. Still learning every day. Like Tucson is a new city to me, but I love it. I love the community. The university's been nothing but great, and looking forward to what the future holds.
Certainly. Yeah, it's an impressive path and exciting journey for you. You know, you mentioned before about the changing landscape in college athletics, and obviously from a sports fan's perspective, we know about name, image, likeness, transfer portal, all that sort of stuff that's going on. What about for you as somebody who works in college athletics? I mean, how much has the industry changed just in your number of years working in college athletics from when you first started to today?
Yeah, no, it's drastically changed. When I first obviously worked as an undergraduate student and then as a graduate assistant, NIL was not a thing. So it was just non-existent, right? So as I was in my early years of athletics, that's when it started to be implementing and changing, and you started to see NIL directors across P4 schools and that expanding to our group of five schools to being involved in the NIL space. And now obviously as we shift into this house model moving forward, how it just continues to change. So I mean, we say that it's the most transformative time in the history of college athletics, and to be honest with you, it's nothing that we also haven't seen before with NIL and everything that's gone on. So, in my time, intercollegiate athletics has not known anything besides change, and it's been a continuous change. It's been a continuous shift. And at the end of the day, we're still here to support our student athletes, support our coaches, support our communities, and put our best foot forward every single day to make sure we're putting them in the best spot that they possibly can to succeed.
Yeah, it's interesting what you said about how, college athletics is just always changing. That's kind of the industry. And you touched earlier about how your day to day is different every day. So, I mean, I guess, is it important for somebody in your role or in college athletics to have that ability to be adaptable, to be able to get through the job and through the years?
Absolutely. And I think back to my time at Bemidji State and like Division II school, lower resources, but like we were wearing a whole bunch of hats. Like we knew what was going on in each space, and we're able to help out at any given moment. And I think when I talk to people who want to get in athletics, it's like don't like say yes. If you get an opportunity, say like you say yes. The hardest part is getting your foot in the door. And then when you get the foot in the door, it's about working hard, doing the right things, and those are the things that'll get you to stay. And that door will continue to open a little bit wider every day, every month, every year. And then once you put your time in, you kind of grind, be willing to wear those hats. That door gets blown open and leads you to a whole bunch of opportunities.
That might be part of the answer to my next question, but give you a chance to brag about yourself. What do you think are some of the traits that have allowed you to be as successful as you have been throughout your career?
I think a lot of it goes back to how I was raised too. Like I was raised on a small on a farm in southern Minnesota. So hard work, and my mom was a teacher, so hard work and education went hand in hand. And that's really all I knew, right? It was the hard work mentality. It's get your boots dirty, get your hands dirty, and let's get to work and get something done. So take pride in just being able to take on any job that's asked of me. There's never a job that's too big or too small for me to take on, and I'm gonna be a sponge and take in all the information I can to continue to learn. So, in college, I had a mentor who said, "Find what you love, do what you love, and never stop learning about the things you love doing." And that couldn't be more true into kind of what I continue to do is learn, grow, and just get your hands dirty every single day.
What's something you know now after having spent these number of years working in college athletics that maybe you wish you knew then when you were first getting involved, or something, in the same time that you would tell young professionals getting into college athletics that you've learned over the years that you wish you knew when you were starting?
Find joy in the journey, right? There's so many things that even in today's age that we want here and now, and there's a lot of times where the journey is where you learn the most about yourself. It's where you learn the most about those around you. Um, and like we look forward to that final project or that final whatever it may be. But those steps along the way of stacking small wins or enjoying the moments you're in right now are incredibly special. We briefly touched on like coming off the game we had last night. Like we just beat Iowa State at home. In those moments, those are what you live for, right? Those moments of McHale magic, those moments of half court buzzer beaters to send the game to overtime. We work hard every single day to provide our students, fans, coaches those opportunities. And when those moments happen, you gotta just take a minute and kind of live in them because they don't come around every day. And just finding joy in that journey.
As someone who works in the HR space, let me ask you a few questions in that area. You've moved around a little bit in your career. What would you say are some qualities that you or others maybe should look for in a work environment to know, yeah, that's a good fit, that's a good school, good leadership, whatever it is that I should go work with?
Yeah, I mean, our motto is we want selfless, smart, hardworking individuals, right? Like we talked about, there's no job too big or too small. Like we want everybody they can step in where needed. It's a team environment, and we want people to be able to work well within a team. And I think we take pride in doing that at a really high level. Hardworking, just like I said, being willing to get your hands dirty, get your boots dirty, and get to work. And then just smart, like making. Obviously, we live in this day and age of compliance and everything, integrity, smart, all key characteristics that we look for. And it's part of your track record, right? It's part of where you've been, what you've done, but also a big part of it is the family as well, right? Like we like to think of ourselves as a big family, and we spend a lot of time with each other and with our families outside of work. We don't get as much time, but our families are family, right? We build relationships with our staff. We make it one big family to where you kind of work for Arizona. Like we want you to be a part of the family that doesn't just last during your time here, but will last no matter where you go throughout your journey.
In general, how important is networking and relationship building when it comes to college athletics?
It's huge. It's huge, and talking about intercollegiate and the opportunities that it provides to just kind of see the people out there. Like I know that I've met people at different conventions that I did not know that worked in college athletics, but they grew up 30 minutes from me back home in Minnesota, or they know somebody who I was roommates with at Mizzou who is now at Georgia Southern, or across the country. It's huge, right? You just get to know people, and the world we live in is so small, especially in athletics. Like the the Kevin Bacon factor of like there's only so many you can only go so many levels without finding somebody that you mutually know or can connect with in college athletics, and that's just super true. So networking is a huge piece. It's a huge thing, and something that we promote for sure, obviously within our staffs, but also like branch out and getting to know because this is a lifestyle, it's a grind, and it's nice to know that other people are going through that too, and we can lean on each other, especially in these transformative times.
Yeah, the 6 degrees of separation in college athletics. You mentioned intercollegiate, and we always encourage everyone to check out intercollegiate.co. It's the most comprehensive job board in college athletics. First, just speaking again generally, I mean, how important do you think job boards are when it comes to college athletics?
Yeah, it's a great resource and tool for us to find the individuals that we in want in our space to be the most successful that they can be, right? And we used a lot of different job boards and different jobs that we post, and that's how we find qualified candidates. That's how we find interested candidates that want to be a part of our team at the University of Arizona, and that's how we can essentially maximize our hiring process. Is how can we get the information out there? How do we portray the University of Arizona and what we're looking for, and trying to find the best individuals we can to get them to join our team. So job boards are huge. The other part is you mentioned networking earlier. Like job boards and networking are two of the biggest ways that we work in the hiring space because I could be hiring somebody from New Jersey, but those 6 levels of separation, I probably can find somebody within those 6 levels that I know worked with you at some step along the way, that I can connect with as well.
You mentioned trying to find the ideal candidate. I don't want this to be a leading question or put words in your mouth, but when we talk to a lot of people in college athletics, they talk about how in recent years it's changed in terms of the pool of candidates, the amount of people applying to college athletic jobs, or even trying to find the same types of candidates that they would find a decade ago. So again, without trying to make this too much of a leading question, I mean, have you had similar experiences in recent years in terms of that candidate pool and trying to find the right fits to come work in college athletics?
It changes, right? I'll just give an example. When I applied to be a graduate assistant, there were over 90 applicants for 2 positions. 2 years later, we were hiring graduate assistants, and there was 14 applicants for one position. So it's a lot based on timing as well. It depends on the hiring process and the timing of it. Traditionally, you're looking at semester end, school year beginning is where you see some turnover. In between can be a little bit less turnovery as far as finding candidates. But at the end of the day, like when you're hiring people, you're going to find the people that you want to find, and that are invested in you. And those people are always going to be out there. And that's why I look at those that are in mid-level leadership or lower level leadership levels across the country that like there's opportunities out there. If you want to learn and grow, they are opportunities. You just have to continually seek them out. And that's where the networking comes in. That's where these job boards come in. That's where everything comes into there's people out there and there's opportunities out there. And sometimes people just have to bet on themselves. And I think that's part of it too, is go for that job, go for that opportunity, put yourself out there. At the end of the day, if it's not the right fit, it's completely fine, totally fine. But you're no worse off than for trying and connecting and building those relationships than for not applying and not putting yourself out there.
Just circling back to Intercollegiate, anything stand out when you check out that job board, or I should say, I guess, what does stand out in regards to Intercollegiate when you log on to that website?
Yeah, as I was telling you, Luke, that like I have it pinned, and it's something that I check. I check a lot of different job boards every day just to see where are we at, right? Like, what are there a whole bunch of sport specific jobs? Are there right now a whole bunch of ticketing jobs? Just kind of gives us a benchmark, and we can kind of forecast where the market's at, where everything is at in the hiring space, and also just gives good ideas. Like, take pride in mentoring and giving advice to those that are graduating or looking for jobs. And if I know that somebody's looking for something, like I can provide context of like, hey, I know somebody here. If you're interested, this could be a good opportunity. And just making those connections too, because I think a lot of times people aren't aware of what's out there if you're not in the space consistently. So just bringing awareness to that too, and trying to give people or promote opportunity within the space that people may not know is there.
We always end on this question. You did mention already a good piece of advice you got earlier in the conversation from a mentor of yours, but to put you on the spot before I let you go, what do you think is the best piece of advice that you've been given in your career or just in life in general that you feel like, you apply to your craft working in college athletics?
Yeah, I'm probably just gonna go back to the two that I mentioned earlier of one, just finding joy in the journey. Like you can be so focused on what's at the finish line or what the next job is. Be where your feet are planted. Like the grass isn't always greener on the other side. The grass is greener when you water it on your side. So just making sure that you're finding joy in that journey, be where your feet are planted and be successful. And then like I said earlier, like find what you love, do what you love, and never stop learning about the things you love doing. Like when we work in this space, we do it for a variety of reasons, right? We do it for our student athletes, coaches, but you gotta love the grind that you put yourself into every day. And as long as you're learning across along the way, just be a sponge, right? Be a sponge, take in all that information, reflect, digest, and how can you get better, not just for you, but for your department moving forward.
A big thank you to this week's special guest, Cody Hendrickson, the Assistant Athletic Director for Innovation and Strategy at the University of Arizona. Also, a big thank you to you as well for taking the time out to watch this video. We suggest that you subscribe to our YouTube channel so that you don't miss any future content or conversations. New intercollegiate conversations are released every Monday right here on our YouTube channel. We also suggest that you check out intercollegiate.co. It's the most comprehensive job board out there for college athletics. And if you are somebody who already works in college athletics, feel free to claim your profile as well on intercollegiate.co. It's free to do so. Life is just a series of hellos and goodbyes. So for now, we say goodbye.